Dear friend, come sit with me a while. Imagine a soft summer morning, the kind where the breeze is still cool and the world feels like it's just waking up. There's a quiet hum from the bees already at work, the faint scent of rosemary in the air, and your favorite chair waits patiently on the patio dappled in morning light. Maybe your hands don't move as quickly as they once did. Maybe your budget isn't as free as it used to be. But none of that matters here. Because today, I want to show you something wonderful, a reminder that you don't need wealth, youth, or strength to create beauty. You just need a little imagination and maybe a trip to Dollar Tree. That's exactly how I transformed my tired, ordinary patio into a place that feels like a luxury garden retreat with only a few dollars and a weekend's worth of gentle effort. The secret isn't in fancy materials or hiring a landscaper. It's in knowing what matters: comfort, simplicity, and joy. You and I both know that gardening in our golden years isn't about chasing trends. It's about crafting a space that cradles us, that reflects our spirit, that brings peace and pride with every bloom. So I'll walk you through each little change I made, each one simple, affordable, and entirely doable at your own pace. No backbreaking work, no steep costs, just small, thoughtful choices that made a world of difference. So pour yourself a cup of tea and let's begin. Remember those old tiered cake stands we used to bring out for holidays? Each level held something special. Cookies on top, little sandwiches in the middle, maybe deviled eggs at the bottom. It was beautiful, practical, and easy to reach for everyone gathered around. Well, that's exactly what came to mind when I discovered Dollar Tree's stackable 3-pot planters, a modern gardening version of those serving trays. Each pot only cost $1.25, but stacked together they became the perfect vertical herb garden. No more bending down or crawling around in the dirt. These clever little towers bring your garden right to you. Here's how I did it. I bought 3 stackable planters and locked them together, creating a sturdy column about waist-high, ideal for older backs and knees. I filled each layer with something fragrant and useful. The bottom holds rosemary, hardy, pine-scented, and wonderful in stews. The middle features sweet basil, which pairs beautifully with tomatoes and pasta. And the top overflows with creeping thyme, which drapes over the edges like a green waterfall. Each planter has built-in drainage holes. And here's the genius part. The water trickles from the top all the way down, feeding each layer in turn. It's like having a self-irrigating tower, something you'd expect to cost a fortune at a garden center. Even better. This little herb tower doesn't hog space. Whether you live in a condo, a senior living community, or a house with a postage stamp yard, this vertical setup fits perfectly on a patio corner, a small balcony, or right outside the kitchen door. And the scent. Oh, friend, the scent. Every morning when I step outside, I'm greeted by rosemary's crisp aroma, basil's sweetness, and the delicate earthiness of thyme. It feels like a gentle hug from the garden. This small tower may not look like much at first, but it's mighty just like you. Built with purpose, designed with care. Still blooming, still useful, still full of flavor and grace. Have you ever stood in one of those charming nursery shops, the kind with wooden barrels overflowing with herbs, and thought, I wish I could bring this feeling home? I used to sigh at those displays. Not because I couldn't appreciate them, but because I knew I couldn't lift those heavy barrels or pay the hefty price tags. Then one day, while browsing the seasonal aisle at Dollar Tree, I spotted a stack of plastic planters designed to look like miniature whiskey barrels. I paused. I picked one up. It was light, affordable, and surprisingly convincing from a distance. Just $1.25 each, and suddenly my imagination took root. I grabbed 4. Back home, I gave each one a purpose. One for parsley, that bright, fresh pop in everything from soups to salads. One for mint, perfect for cooling tea on warm days. Another for rosemary, for roasts and memory. And the last for sage, with its soft leaves and calming scent. But here's the trick: I didn't line them up flat. Instead, I used old overturned pots I already had, even a couple of sturdy bowls to raise some of them at staggered heights. This gave my herb garden dimension, like a cascading landscape designed by a professional. Not only did it add visual interest, it also made tending to the herbs easier. I didn't need to crouch or stoop. Each plant sat within arm's reach at a height that felt natural and comfortable. Plus, the elevation created airflow, which herbs love, and made watering less messy. And oh, the joy of stepping out and picking a fresh sprig of mint for my morning tea. It's a quiet little ritual that starts my day off with intention and calm. There's pride too, not in how much I spent, but in how cleverly I used what I had. These faux barrel planters may be plastic, but they've brought real living beauty into my daily life. They remind me that elegance doesn't have to be heavy in weight or in cost. It just needs to be within reach, literally and emotionally. And that's exactly what this little herb cluster has become, a pocket of joy I can reach for day after day. You know those laundry bags we all have tucked in a closet somewhere, the mesh kind with a zipper meant for delicate wash loads? Mine had been sitting unused for years until one afternoon when inspiration struck. Because in gardening, just like in life, sometimes the most unexpected things turn out to be the most useful. Watering plants can be tricky in our golden years. We don't always have the energy to lug watering cans around, and overwatering is all too easy when we can't check the soil every day. That's why this next transformation was a true game changer. I headed to Dollar Tree's laundry aisle and picked up one mesh laundry bag and one plastic laundry basket, the kind with handles and holes along the sides. I slipped the basket inside the bag like a glove, forming a simple structure that was both breathable and lightweight. Then I added a few scoops of smooth river pebbles to the bottom. These create the drainage layer essential for keeping roots from drowning. On top of that went a generous layer of potting soil, and finally, I planted my favorite coleus in the center where its colorful leaves could really shine. The result, a self-regulating low-maintenance planter that looks neat and tidy while giving my plants exactly what they need. The mesh allows air to circulate, keeping roots from rotting. The basket maintains the shape and keeps the soil from compacting. And the pebbles wick away excess moisture, so I never have to worry about overdoing it. Even on the hottest days, the soil stays just right, not soggy, not dry. And because the whole thing is lightweight, I can move it easily if I need to chase the shade or the sun. It's not fancy, it's not expensive, but it works beautifully. And the best part, it turns an everyday chore watering into something I barely think about. I can focus instead on enjoying my flowers, watching the butterflies flutter in, and sipping my iced tea in peace. We often think we need complex gadgets or expensive tools to solve our problems. But sometimes the simplest solution, like a mesh laundry bag and a plastic basket, offers the most relief. Quietly, gently, efficiently. Much like the wisdom we gain with age, it may not always be loud, but it's deeply effective. Do you remember those over-the-door shoe organizers we used back in the day? Maybe you had one hanging in the hallway closet, each pocket filled with sandals, Sunday shoes, or a pair of cozy slippers. Back then, it was all about making the most of small spaces. Well, the same clever thinking now helps me make the most of my patio wall. One day, I took one of those fabric organizers and saw something new, not a place for shoes, but a blank canvas for a vertical garden. It was a revelation, especially for someone like me who no longer wants to kneel in garden beds or bend down to prune. This idea brings the beauty right to eye level. Here's how I did it. I picked up a neutral-colored shoe organizer from Dollar Tree. Then I used a small pair of scissors to poke drainage holes in the bottom of each pocket, nothing too large, just enough to let water escape. Next, I filled each pocket with a lightweight potting mix, not too dense, so the fabric wouldn't sag. And then came the fun part, choosing the plants. I went with shallow-rooted favorites, a few trailing succulents, some vibrant pansies, a couple of leafy lettuces, even a strawberry plant or two. Each one nestled into its pocket like it had always belonged there. With a few hooks and a sturdy wall mount, I hung it all up, transforming a dull vertical space into a cheerful living tapestry. What I love most about this is how it puts everything within reach. I don't have to stoop or stretch. I can harvest a handful of salad greens for lunch, or pinch off a yellow leaf with ease. And visually, it's stunning. The layers of greens and blooms spill over gently, turning the wall into a piece of art. This organizer isn't just saving space, it's reclaiming space. It's giving purpose to a plain wall and turning it into something alive, joyful, and completely unique. People often ask me, how do you find the energy to keep gardening? And I always smile and say, it's not about energy, it's about ease. This little project proves that beauty and abundance can live right at eye level, and that with the right ideas, gardening doesn't get harder with age, it gets smarter. When you think of pool noodles, what comes to mind? For me, it's summer afternoons with the grandkids' squeals of laughter, arms splashing, and those colorful foam tubes floating like lazy riverboats in the sun. But would you believe those same pool noodles now live in my planters? This next trick might just be my favorite, not because it's flashy, but because it solved a problem I didn't know how to fix: heavy pots. See, I love large planters. They make such a statement on a patio. But once you fill them with soil, they become backbreakers, nearly impossible to move without help. And in our golden years, we don't need one more thing to strain our bodies. That's where the pool noodles come in. I picked up a few bright-colored ones from Dollar Tree, yellow, blue, and pink. I cut each one into small sections about the size of a teacup. Then, before adding any soil, I filled the bottom third of my large planters with these foam pieces. Not only do they take up space, meaning you need less soil, but they also make the pots dramatically lighter. I'm talking about cutting the weight in half. What used to require dragging and groaning, I can now lift gently and place wherever I please. There's more. These foam pieces improve drainage, which helps prevent root rot. And in colder months or hot snaps, they provide a bit of insulation, keeping the roots from suffering extreme temperature swings. And don't worry, the colors don't show through, but I secretly like knowing they're there, like a hidden burst of summer cheer inside my flowers. One of my favorite combinations: pink noodle pieces underneath purple pansies. The planter blooms like a layered cake, joyful and weightless. What I love most is how this simple fix preserves my independence. I can rearrange my patio whenever the spirit moves me. I don't have to wait for help, and I don't have to worry about injury. It's a gentle reminder that even when our bodies change, we can still do the things we love. We just do them differently, thoughtfully, kindly, with a pool noodle and a bit of patience. There's something magical about twilight in the garden. That soft hush as the sun dips low, the way shadows stretch across the patio, and the first golden glow of evening lights flickering to life. Years ago, I remember watching my neighbor's landscape lighting sparkle across her flower beds and thinking, I wish I could afford something like that. It looked like she'd hired a designer, each light perfectly placed, each glow perfectly warm. But now, thanks to a few glass gems and solar lights from Dollar Tree, I have that same magic, and I created it myself. Here's how you do it. Start with any decorative container, even old planters or wide glass vases will do. Fill the bottom with clear glass gems. These catch the sunlight during the day and reflect it back at night like tiny mirrors. Next, layer in some colored gems. I chose emerald green and deep blue to echo the colors of my plants. Then nestle a Dollar Tree solar stake light right into the center. You don't even need to push it into soil, the gems will hold it upright. Finish with a few accent stones or special marbles on top, just for a bit of whimsy. As the sun sets, these little containers come alive. The light dances across the gems, bouncing off the patio walls and casting tiny sparkles on nearby leaves. It feels like fireflies have come to visit. And the best part, there's no maintenance, no cords, no batteries, just clean solar energy and a bit of creativity. I made several and placed them throughout the patio, one near my favorite chair, a few along the path, and one tucked beneath a rose bush that lights up like a lantern at nightfall. Guests always ask how I made them. They expect an expensive secret, but I just smile and say, glass gems, solar lights, and a little patience. You see, friend, we don't need to wait for someone to bring the sparkle. We can create it ourselves, gently, quietly, affordably. With each glowing gem, I'm reminded that beauty doesn't come from price tags. It comes from care. And when I sit outside in the evening surrounded by the soft twinkle of light, I feel something deep in my chest. Peace. The kind that comes not just from what you see, but from what you've lovingly made. There's a certain kind of stillness that comes from water in the garden, not silence exactly, but a gentle rhythm. The splash of wings, the drip of water over stone, the way a bird dips its beak and sends ripples outward like little whispers across a pond. I used to think adding a water feature was beyond my reach, too expensive, too complicated, too much work. But then I found a way to bring that serenity to my patio, with just $3.75 and a little heart. It started with a simple lawn planter from Dollar Tree, one of those shallow, wide bowls meant for flowers. I chose a dark gray one to mimic the look of stone. Then I picked up 3 small bags of river pebbles, smooth natural, and just the right size for layering. The key to this little oasis is the arrangement. First, I placed the largest stones at the bottom to form a stable base. Then I added a layer of medium pebbles in soft browns and grays for texture. On top, I scattered the smoothest white river rocks like icing on a cake. You can stop there, and you've created a stunning bird bath. But if you'd like to take it a step further, add a small solar-powered pump. I found mine online for just a few dollars. Place it in the center, and suddenly your patio has the gentle sound of moving water, a melody for your mornings. Even without the pump, the birds come. Cardinals, finches, wrens. They find their way. They perch on the rim, fluff their feathers, and splash with joy. And I sit quietly nearby, coffee in hand, heart full. This little fountain, though simple, brings so much life. It invites the natural world in. It gives you something to care for and something to delight in. It's a daily reminder that peace doesn't come from grandeur, it comes from presence. And best of all, it's light enough to move. If the sun shifts or the wind picks up, I can adjust it with ease. No back pain, no fuss. When visitors come, they always pause here. Some bend down to feel the smooth stones. Others smile when they hear the gentle gurgle. No one believes it cost less than a fast food lunch. But I know the truth. This bird bath wasn't built with money. It was built with memory, intention, and the desire to keep welcoming beauty into my life, one quiet ripple at a time. Do you remember the joy of playing in the dirt as a child? Making tiny worlds from twigs and pebbles, giving them names and stories. I used to build little villages beneath the hydrangeas in my grandmother's backyard. Mossy roads, acorn caps for bowls, pine cone chairs for imaginary friends. That childlike wonder still lives in us no matter our age. And that's why I made a fairy garden. It began with a shallow planter, wide, not too deep, easy to reach from a seated position. At Dollar Tree, I found the perfect miniature treasures, tiny fairy houses, stone-look bridges, little benches, and even a resin squirrel with a teacup. Just $1 each, and each one sparked a memory. I layered the bottom with soil and topped it with bits of moss, soft and green, like a forest floor. For the path I used aquarium gravel in soft blues and whites, winding it like a secret lane through the planter. Small succulents became trees. Pebbles became stepping stones. And in one corner I created a pond with a blue glass gem. It's not just decor, it's a story waiting to be told. There's a gentle kind of therapy in placing each piece. You become the landscape architect of a tiny world. You think about sight lines, how one house peeks out from behind a drift of time. You adjust a little stone wall until it feels just right. There's no rush, no rules, only creativity. Children who visit are drawn to it instantly. They bend down, pointing at the details I tucked in just for fun, a ladybug here, a pine cone there. And I love watching their eyes light up with the same wonder I remember feeling at their age. But even when no one's around, I find myself drifting over in the evenings, running my fingers across the moss, breathing in the stillness. This little garden gives me something I didn't even know I was craving: playfulness. We spend so much of our adult lives in seriousness, in routines and responsibilities. But this is pure delight. A small return to magic. And it takes up barely any space. A fairy garden doesn't require strength or budget or precision. Only care, only imagination. And maybe a willingness to believe even just a little in tiny doors and invisible wings. After all, just because we grow older doesn't mean we stop dreaming. Sometimes the smallest garden holds the biggest joy. When I was younger, I used to think that gardening meant digging down into the soil, down on your knees, down into the earth. But these days, I've discovered something beautiful: gardening can also go up. That's why hanging baskets have become such a beloved part of my patio. They bring the color and fragrance right to eye level, right to where I can enjoy it. No bending, no straining, just beauty that floats in the air. At Dollar Tree, I found simple wire plant baskets, each one already fitted with a chain for hanging. Lightweight, sturdy, and just the right size for a pop of flowers or a trailing green. But instead of using those pricey liners from the garden center, I got creative. I lined mine with coconut fiber I had on hand. But you could just as easily use pretty fabric scraps, burlap, or even a doubled-over cloth napkin. Once the lining was in place, I filled them with trailing plants, bright pink petunias, silvery ivy, even some strawberry vines. The trick is to hang them at different heights. Some just above eye level, others lower, almost like a floating staircase of blooms. When the breeze comes through, they sway gently like nature's own mobiles. And that movement, that softness brings such life to the space. It's as if the flowers are dancing, whispering to the wind. There's another benefit too. Because these baskets are elevated, they're safe from ground-dwelling pests and easier to tend. I can prune deadhead or water without ever crouching. And when I step outside in the morning, the fragrance meets me right at my nose, a little bouquet floating in the air. One of my favorite touches is tucking in a few small herbs around the edges, a bit of thyme here, some mint trailing over. It's unexpected and practical. A living bouquet you can harvest from. When neighbors visit, they often ask how I got the layered look. It's all about the heights. Varying levels create visual interest and make even a small patio feel lush and full. But more than that, these baskets remind me that in this season of life, we can still reach upward, still grow, still add color, texture, and fragrance to the spaces around us, even if we're no longer digging in the dirt. We simply garden differently now, not less, just wiser. You know that feeling when you're ready to garden, gloves on, tea, steeping sun just right. And then, where did the trowel go? Or the pruning shears? Or those tiny packets of zinnia seeds you swore were in your basket last week? For years I chased my tools around like they had legs of their own. But now I've created a little sanctuary of order, a garden tool command center that keeps everything where I can find it without the digging and the fuss. It all started with a simple board of scrap wood and a few packs of hooks and baskets from Dollar Tree. I mounted the board near my patio seating area where I like to plant and pot. Then I added small metal hooks along the top to hang frequently used tools, my snips, hand rake, and twine scissors. Beneath that, I attached labeled plastic baskets using adhesive strips. One for seed packets, one for gloves, one for plant markers and tags. Suddenly, every item had a home. No more balancing things on railings. No more asking myself where I last saw the garden tape. And the best part, it all hangs at chest level, no bending, no searching, no strain. I grouped tools by function, planting items in one section, watering tools in another, and maintenance gear in the last. Even my reading glasses have a place now, tucked in a little pouch on the side for when I need to read the fine print on seed envelopes. What I didn't expect was how soothing it would feel. This small bit of order added a calmness to my gardening days. I move slower now, more deliberately. I take time to enjoy the process rather than scramble for the parts. Guests always smile when they see it. It's like a tiny gardener's studio, one neighbor said. And it is. My own little creative corner where everything I need is close at hand and nothing feels rushed or out of place. I even added a small chalkboard above it where I jot down reminders, water rosemary, or start zinnias next week. Sometimes I write little poems just for myself. It's amazing how a few hooks and baskets can turn chaos into comfort. It's a simple system, but it brings peace, the kind that lets you focus on planting joy rather than looking for missing gloves. And in this season of life, friend, isn't that the kind of ease we all deserve? There's something special about checking the weather, isn't there? Not the way we do it on our phones, quick impersonal forecasts with numbers and icons, but the way gardeners do it. With our eyes to the sky, fingers to the soil, and hearts tuned to the rhythm of the earth. That's why one of my most unexpected joys has been creating a mini weather station right on my patio. It didn't cost more than a few dollars, but it made me feel more connected than ever to the natural world around me. I started with a small decorative shelf from Dollar Tree, one of those lightweight wood pieces meant for knickknacks. I mounted it at eye level just outside my kitchen window so I could see it every morning even before stepping outside. On that shelf, I placed a classic outdoor thermometer. Just a simple one, nothing fancy. Then I added a little rain gauge also from Dollar Tree, which sits in a nearby planter. And for fun, I found a basic humidity indicator and tucked it in next to my herb tower. Together, these tools began to tell me stories. Stories about when the frost might threaten, when heat stress might sneak in, and when the soil was just perfect for new seeds. Over time, I started noticing patterns, how the temperature dipped on clear nights, how quickly a light rain could fill the gauge, how the humidity clung to the morning air before a storm. These gentle observations became a ritual. I began checking the weather station with my morning tea in hand, making mental notes, and sometimes even jotting them down on the chalkboard in my tool center. First, frost signs. Perfect time for transplanting, or simply a beautiful day to water slowly. It made me a better gardener. But more than that, it made me feel in tune. You don't need a high-tech setup to understand your garden. All you need is a few simple tools placed thoughtfully and a willingness to listen, to observe, to feel. This little shelf, barely bigger than a mailbox, reminds me that wisdom grows with presence. That nature will always teach us something if we only pay attention. And when neighbors visit, they smile at my weather station and say, "That's so clever." But I know it's more than that. It's a bridge between me and my garden, one more way to stay connected to the quiet rhythms of the world I've built with my own hands. There's nothing quite like watching something grow from almost nothing. A tiny dry speck of a seed becomes a living, breathing plant, stretching toward the sun leaf by leaf, day by day. And the moment that first green shoot breaks through the soil, it still fills me with wonder. That's why I started making my own seed-starting greenhouses. Not from fancy kits or expensive trays, but from clear storage containers with lids, the kind you might use to organize craft supplies or snacks right from the Dollar Tree. I picked up a few shallow ones with snap-on lids. Clear plastic sturdy enough to hold a bit of weight, and most importantly transparent, so I could see the magic happening inside. First, I added a few small drainage holes to the bottom using the tip of a heated nail. Then I filled each container with lightweight seed-starting mix and tucked in small plastic pots, also from Dollar Tree, 4 to 6 in each box, depending on their size. Into each pot went 2 or 3 seeds from one of Dollar Tree's 4-packs, marigolds, basil zinnias, even lavender. I watered gently, closed the lid, and set the container near a sunny window inside. And then I waited. Within days, I saw condensation forming inside the lid, a sign of the perfect, warm, humid environment. It was like watching a tiny world come to life. Every morning, I'd check in with my little greenhouses, gently cracking the lids for airflow and whispering encouragement to those brave little sprouts. The best part: this entire setup was lightweight, low to the ground, and easy to manage from a chair or tabletop. No hauling heavy trays, no bending. Just a daily rhythm of light water and gentle joy. When the seedlings grew tall and strong, I'd carefully transplant them into bigger pots outdoors, sometimes into my vertical herb tower, sometimes into hanging baskets. It was like sending children off to school after watching them grow up in the kitchen window. These mini greenhouses didn't just start plants. They started my mornings with purpose. They gave me something to look forward to, a reason to check the sun, to feel the soil, to celebrate growth. And perhaps most importantly, they reminded me that no matter our age, we still get to begin again. We still get to nurture new life, to plant new dreams, and to witness beauty unfold one tiny leaf at a time. There's something timeless about a path lined with light. It feels like an invitation to wander slowly, to reflect, to arrive somewhere meaningful. I used to see those glowing walkways in garden magazines and think, maybe one day. But then one day came, not with a landscaper's help, but with a quiet stroll through the Dollar Tree. That's where I found their simple solar stake lights, tall enough to catch the sun during the day, just bright enough to glow like lanterns after dusk. No wires, no plugs, no fuss. Just sun in, light out. I picked up 6 to start. Enough to line the short walkway from my back door to the patio seating area. The trick is in the spacing, close enough to guide the eye, far enough apart to avoid the look of an airport runway. I settled on about 2 feet between each stake and tucked a few river stones around their bases for a finished look. In the daylight, they blend into the garden like quiet sentinels. But as the sky dims, they begin to shine one by one, casting a warm, steady light across the path. It's not glaring or harsh, just enough to make each step feel safe and softly lit. Now my evening routine includes a slow walk along that path, watering can in hand. Sometimes I don't even need to water, I just walk it for the peace. There's something meditative about following those little lights, watching them glow against the leaves, the shadows stretching gently as the day says goodbye. And when guests come by, especially in the cooler months, they notice the difference. It feels like a resort, one friend said as we sipped tea under the stars. All it took was a few solar lights, a little care in placement, and the intention to make even the walk across a patio feel like something sacred. Best of all, I didn't have to dig wire or worry. These lights go in with a gentle push and stay glowing for hours. On cloudy days, they still collect just enough energy to shine. And when one wears out, I simply replace the top, also just $1. This path reminds me that beauty isn't always in the destination. Sometimes it's in the gentle steps that lead you there. And that even when the world darkens a little, light, soft, steady, and thoughtfully placed can make all the difference. There's a quiet sort of joy in having a place to set your cup. It might seem like a small thing, a table next to your favorite chair, but over time I've come to see it as one of life's little luxuries. A place for your morning tea, a favorite book, or a bowl of cut flowers from the garden. A surface that says, sit, stay. You belong here. That's why I was thrilled to discover this next transformation, a planter-turned-side table made entirely from Dollar Tree finds. The idea came one afternoon as I sat on my patio balancing my mug on the arm of a chair. I thought there must be an easier way. And there was. I picked up 2 identical wide-based planters, the kind with a gentle curve and a sturdy lip. I flipped one upside down and placed the second right on top, bottom to bottom. They fit together like puzzle pieces, creating a tall pedestal that was surprisingly stable. To finish it, I added a round wooden tray as a tabletop, just wide enough for a few essentials. I lightly sanded the edges and gave it a coat of weather-resistant finish I had on hand. But a plastic tray would work just as well if you're looking to skip the sanding step. The result, a lightweight, durable, and elegant little table that looks like it came from a boutique patio catalog. Because the planters are hollow, the whole piece is easy to move. I can lift it myself even on days when my joints feel stiff. I shift it into the shade when the sun gets too hot, or tuck it under my awning during a drizzle. And every morning there, it is waiting for me. A small surface, a simple gesture, but one that brings structure and comfort to my day. No more balancing drinks on the windowsill or setting my glasses on a wobbly stool. It's funny how such a simple DIY can shift the entire mood of a space. The moment I placed that little table beside my patio chair, everything felt more intentional, more welcoming, more like home. When friends visit, they always ask where I bought it. And I smile, tell them it was made with love, and 2 planters for $1.25 each. Because that's what this season of life is about, isn't it? Not buying more, but noticing more. Creating beauty with what we have. And giving ourselves the little luxuries we've earned, like a proper place to rest our tea and a quiet place to enjoy it. We all have that one planter tucked in a corner, the one that still works just fine but no longer fits our style. Maybe it's faded plastic, maybe the color clashes with your flowers. Years ago, I would have tossed it and bought a new one. But now I see it as a blank canvas. This next transformation is one that even my neighbors couldn't believe came from Dollar Tree faux marble stone look planters made with nothing more than decorative contact paper and Mod Podge. I started with a few old plastic pots I had lying around. Some were weathered, others mismatched, none of them special. But once I wrapped them in marble patterned contact paper, sealed them carefully, and placed them on the patio, they looked like elegant ceramic pieces that belonged in a high-end garden store. Phew! Here's how it works. Choose a contact paper that mimics natural textures, marble slate, or even wood grain. Dollar Tree often has surprising patterns tucked away in the craft section, so it's worth checking. Clean your planter thoroughly, a little dish soap and water will do. Make sure it's dry and smooth. Then slowly apply the contact paper, peeling the backing bit by bit as you go, smoothing out bubbles with your hands or a soft cloth. It takes a little patience, but it's meditative work, almost like wrapping a gift. Once the surface is fully covered, add a thin layer of Mod Podge or clear sealant on top. This step is important. It helps protect the paper from moisture and gives it a subtle professional finish. And just like that, your tired old planter becomes a showpiece. I grouped a few together near the edge of my patio, one with lavender, another with petunias, and a third with ornamental grasses. The way the sun hits the faux marble finish makes them gleam like polished stone. When my neighbor came over last week, she bent down and tapped one with her fingernail. "Wait," she said, "this isn't real stone." I just smiled and said, "Nope, just $1.25 and a bit of creativity." That's the beauty of this project. It doesn't just upcycle a tired object. It elevates it. It honors it. It gives it a second life, something I think we understand well in this season of life. There's something deeply satisfying about turning something overlooked into something admired. It's a quiet kind of luxury. Not loud, not flashy, just beautiful, intentional, and completely yours. Do you ever long for just a little more softness in your outdoor space? A gentle bit of privacy, a graceful curtain of calm that separates your garden from the world beyond. I did, especially in the afternoons when the sun blazed low or when neighbors strolled by just a little too close for comfort. I didn't want walls. I didn't want anything heavy or permanent. I wanted something that swayed in the breeze, something that felt like fabric and freedom. And I found it at Dollar Tree in the shower curtain aisle. Yes, friend, shower curtains. They carry light gauzy ones in soft white and pale gray, breathable, flowy, and absolutely perfect for outdoor patio curtains. I paired them with Dollar Tree's tension rods, the kind made to fit windows or closets. No tools needed. No drilling. Just a simple twist to secure. I mounted the rods between two patio posts and let the curtains hang full length, brushing gently against the floor. If your patio doesn't have vertical posts, don't worry. You can use removable adhesive hooks to create a hanging frame from wall to wall, or even attach the rods to nearby fencing. When the wind picks up, the fabric sways like a slow waltz. When the sun lowers, it glows through the fabric, casting soft shadows that make the whole space feel like a quiet retreat. And the privacy, oh, it's perfect. Not blocking, but filtering. Like standing behind lace where the world softens but doesn't disappear. I've tied a few back with twine or ribbon when I want the view open, but most of the time I leave them loose. There's something so peaceful about watching them move, like the patio is breathing slowly, gently. Visitors are always surprised. "Where did you find outdoor curtains that don't mildew or fade?" they ask. And I just smile and point up. Would you believe Dollar Tree? They cost me under $5 for the whole setup, less than one panel from a garden store. But they made my patio feel 10 times more luxurious. And more importantly, they gave me peace. Peace to sip my tea without being seen. Peace to read, reflect, or simply sit without the outside world peeking in. It reminded me that privacy doesn't have to mean closing off. Sometimes it's just a soft border, a boundary made of light and movement. A way to claim your space, to say gently, "This is my little sanctuary." And in this life, we've built one of simplicity, intention, and grace. That soft boundary might be the most luxurious thing of all. There's a clever old trick decorators use when they want to make a small room feel grander. They add a mirror. Not just for reflection, but for depth. Light bounces, spaces double, and suddenly what felt cramped begins to breathe. That same magic works wonders in the garden. When I stood back and looked at my little patio, I loved it. But it still felt like something was missing. It needed a touch of surprise, something that would catch the light and make my compact corner feel like it stretched a little farther. And then I saw them rectangular wall mirrors at Dollar Tree with simple frames and a lightweight design that made them perfect for outdoor use. I picked up 3 and placed them side by side on a wooden fence panel that bordered my patio. If you don't have a fence, any vertical surface will do: a garden wall, a shed, or even a piece of old lattice. I secured the mirrors with heavy-duty outdoor mounting tape and a few screws just to be safe in the wind. The effect was immediate. The mirrors reflected my plants, hanging baskets, glowing solar lights, a little fairy garden tucked beneath a planter. But more than that, they reflected sky. They doubled the sunlight. They made my patio feel twice as wide, like a secret garden with more nooks and corners than anyone could guess. As the day moves, so does the reflection. In the morning, they bounce soft golds from the east. In the evening, pink clouds float across their surface like watercolor paintings. Even the birds seem intrigued. I've seen a curious finch flutter toward the glass, chirping at its own reflection. I take that as a compliment. These mirrors have become more than decoration. They're an illusion of space, yes, but also an invitation to see differently. To look at your own little corner of the world and say, "What else could this be?" And they cost me less than a bouquet of grocery store flowers. I've even begun tucking a few tiny potted plants nearby, ones I don't mind seeing twice. The whole area glows now, especially at sunset, when light and shadow mingle. and the garden seems to fold in on itself, whispering its secrets. It's a beautiful reminder that our surroundings, just like us, can change with the light, can reflect back something new, something spacious, something full of possibility. All it takes is a little mirror, a little courage to try something different, and a heart open to wonder. So here we are, dear friend, at the edge of our transformed patio, with the sun setting softly and the evening breeze brushing past our cheeks. If you close your eyes for a moment, can you feel it? That deep sense of calm that only a well-loved space can offer. Not because it's expensive, not because it's big, but because it's yours. We've walked through simple ideas today. Dollar Tree finds clever little hacks, humble materials, but together they've built something much bigger than what money could buy. A space that reflects your care, your creativity, your quiet persistence to make life beautiful, one thoughtful project at a time. Every planter you wrapped, every pot you raised to a comfortable height, every light you gently tucked into the soil, it all whispers a powerful truth: your hands still create beauty. Not in spite of age, but because of it. You've lived enough life to know what matters: comfort over clutter, peace over pressure, meaning over money. And this patio, this garden oasis, holds all of that. Each corner has your fingerprints. Each idea carries your touch. And perhaps most importantly, you did it in a way that honors where you are now. No bending, no breaking the budget, no racing to keep up. Just joy, ease, and the gentle satisfaction of creating something lovely entirely on your own terms. When friends come to visit, they'll admire the sparkle of the solar lights, the elegance of the faux marble planters, the dreamy sway of your privacy curtains. But you will know the real secret. You'll remember how you started with nothing but a few dollars and an idea. You'll remember how you took ordinary items, laundry baskets, shower curtains, pool noodles, and turned them into extraordinary comforts. You'll remember how in this golden season of life you didn't stop growing. You simply grew in new, beautiful ways. So tell me, which transformation brought you the most joy? Was it the fairy garden that made you smile like a child again? Or maybe the mirror wall that turned your patio into a secret escape? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what inspired you. And if you haven't yet, dear one, subscribe to this channel. There's always more gentle inspiration waiting, more quiet projects that bring beauty, dignity, and delight into our everyday lives. Until next time, keep growing, keep creating, and keep saving. This is Golden Seniors Living, where every day is a chance to bloom exactly where you're planted. Happy gardening, dear friend.